And now on BBC Two in Wales, we take over from where BBC Wales have left off. We join Ted Lowe at the Ebbw Vale Leisure Centre for coverage of the final of the Welsh Professional Snooker Championships.
And so here we have the end of the third frame. And as we come into BBC Two from BBC Wales, I beg your pardon, let me first of all bring in, who's sharing the commentary with us today, that well-known rugby character, Carwyn James. Carwyn.
And it's been a delightful afternoon's play. Excellent snooker from Doug Mountjoy, who's looked so relaxed and so positive and far more aggressive today than he was against Terry Griffiths. On the other hand, Reardon not displaying the kind of clinical form that he showed last night against Cliff Wilson. Well, we had some delightful breaks. 95 in the first frame from Mountjoy. Unfortunately, he missed the pink and didn't get his century, but he made up for it later on, particularly in the third frame. And let's rejoin play during the third frame, and your commentator is Clive Everton.
7.
And that's opened the pack a whole lot more.
.45. 46. 53. 54.
This is really fluent, confident snooker from Mountjoy. In fact, this is as well as I've seen him play in a match for over a year. He's put in a great deal of practice recently,
60.
particularly on his own table at home in Ebbw Vale.
61.
No, not quite as played. He's left the cue ball
68.
short. A look at the scoreboard would be a reassuring look from his point of view, because he's 78 points in front. Which means that already Reardon needs several snookers.
.74. 75.
And having so narrowly failed to make a century break in the first frame of this match, I wonder whether he's going to do better this time. He's certainly playing well enough to do so.
.82. 83.
'Little bit short again.
90.
If he'd have been a little bit further out, he'd have had a simple run through the red to leave the black, but as it is, he's got to screw it in. And he's playing so well that even when he does get out of position, it doesn't seem to make much difference.
$96. $98. $101.
Well, Mountjoy took that break to 123, an additional 23 points on that 100 break. A magnificent clearance, and in fact, Reardon was completely whitewashed without a score. Now, of course, you return to us live here at the Ebbw Vale Leisure Centre as Reardon breaks off for this, the 5th frame. Trailing now by 4 frames, feeling a little unhappy with himself. On the other hand, Mountjoy, who's played so magnificently, as you've already seen this afternoon in this 17-frame final. Undecided at the moment. And he had a go. And has been able to get the cue ball back down very near to the back cushion. Reardon really hasn't had a chance at all in the first 4 frames. Sat in his chair most of the time. And there he shakes his head. Another mistake. He's left a red along the top cushion.
One.
Choice of 2 reds this time.
8. Nine.
Mountjoy doesn't seem to mind leaving that cue ball perhaps 16 inches away from the black.
$16. $17.
Almost in the same position again.
$24.
His 3rd black.
$25.
Now there's one loose red there at the top of the pack.
30.
follows through nicely for the black again.
$38. $39.
Still in position on that black. He's certainly potting better than our local gardener.
$46.
No, he's missed that. It's quite extraordinary that when one sees Mountjoy missing a shot like that, you get surprised. In fact, that was a very difficult shot across the nap of the cloth into the centre pocket. But a very useful start, nevertheless, in this fifth frame for Doug Mountjoy, leading 4-0. Ray Reardon here, battling to try and get into the match. One must never disregard the potentiality of this man. Always likely to win several frames on the trot once he gets going with his rhythms. Now, an interesting situation here. The pink will not spot. There is no spot available, so he goes as near to his own spot as possible between its spot and the top cushion. John Smythe, our referee, places the pink as near to its own spot there, between the pink spot and the top cushion. And this time it's safety.
7. Ray Reardon.
Reardon will obviously try and tighten up the match, trailing by 4 frames. He'll want to keep Mountjoy out. And this time it's Mountjoy's turn to play safe. He has, of course, split the reds. Tempting Reardon to have a go. Still looks very unhappy, does the former world snooker champion. They're just not running his way. He kisses the yellow there.
6.
And he leaves a red into the centre pocket.
Ray Reardon.
Just can't do it right.
46. Ray Reardon, 13.
Every snooker player knows how cruel the bulls of snooker can be when they're running against you. A very interested audience.
One.
Leading 46 points to 13 before this break, Mountjoy.
Six. Six. Doug Mountjoy. Ray Reardon, 13. Doug Mountjoy, 52.
And there, caption shows you 52 points to 13, 39 points in front, and leading 4 frames to 0. Mountjoy, of course, a local man, lives here in Ebbw Vale, and I'm sure his wife Yvonne and the kiddies, Andrew and Everett, are both at home this afternoon, enthralled with the way the man of the house is playing. 95 in the first frame, a victory in the second, 123 in the third, 82 in the fourth. And this time he could have made a mistake.
One.
And Reardon goes into those 4 reds. There are still a possible 67 points there. 5 reds, 5 blacks, and the 6 colours. Now Reardon's sizing up the red here to knock it onto the red nearest the pocket and put that one down the hole. Very difficult indeed. Deserved applause for a very difficult stroke there.
Fourteen. $15.
Nice position to bring the cue ball back behind those 2 reds.
$22. 23. $30.
Oh, a bad one.
30, Ray Reardon.
Well, certainly a bad shot by Reardon there, just as one thought he was getting his rhythms back. Now 9 points behind. That is before Mountjoy gets to work.
1.
Perfect position on the blue for the last red. Disastrous for Reardon there, of course, missing that red into the centre.
6.
This red in the last 6 colours, now at the mercy of Doug Mountjoy.
7.
The brown disappears. And for those of you unfamiliar with the game of snooker, let me tell you that these last
11.
6 colours must be taken in their correct order. It's the green that follows the yellow.
13.
A camera showing you how the green trickles into the bottom pocket, and this time the brown will bolt down that same pocket.
20.
No stopping Mountjoy. Well, having said that, he misses the blue,
20, Doug Mountjoy.
but he's still 30 points ahead and just 18 points left on the
Ray
table.
Reardon 43, Doug Mountjoy 72.
Reardon just can't touch them so far this afternoon. The balls have not been terribly kind to him, but part of that is because he's not playing well. After his magnificent performance in the second semi-final yesterday against Cliff Wilson, it's quite a change around. But the man of the moment is this man, Doug Mountjoy. Notching up here the 5th frame in his favour to lead 5 frames to 0 in this 17 frame Woodpecker Welsh Professional Championship final. And so, as the applause dies there, once again, I'll ask Clive to sum up that particular frame and the situation of the final so far. Clive?
Well, 5-0 to Mountjoy, looking very good for him indeed. I think that frame illustrated how difficult it is for the man who's getting so little of the table, in this case Reardon, how difficult it is to retain your concentration when you're kept out for such long periods. Reardon did get in the middle of that frame with a 30 break, but his concentration, it seemed to me, just wasn't quite deep enough, and quite a straightforward middle pocket red, the sort he would get with ease if he was in a full rhythm and concentration. It caught the corner of the pocket and stayed out. So still a great many problems for him, although I can assure you this match is a long way from over. He's an absolutely tremendous fighter. He's been in a very similar position to this before, and I'm sure we'll see some sort of recovery from him.
Well, Clive, we sincerely hope your predictions are right there as Mountjoy breaks off for the 6th frame. Reardon coming to the table, trailing by 5 frames. And again, he's unlucky. do nothing here but play safe. Off the yellow and leave the cue ball behind green and brown.
1, Ray Reardon.
Another bout of safety play now until the frame opens up. Still the safety tactics continue, but Reardon with just a chance here.
One. Six.
Still not quite far enough up the table. Reardon calling for the half butt. That's the 6-foot cue and rest.
Seven.
Battling for every shot is this former world snooker champion. Current holder, of course, of the Welsh Professional title, defending his title here.
12. Thirteen. Eighteen.
Going back for that pink.
19.
Now he's disturbed the reds, but he wants a good shot here to keep in the break. There's a difficult bridge hand.
32.
A red straight into the top pocket. Trying so hard to get the black into play. They just ain't going for me this afternoon, he's saying to himself. Now attempting a blue here, which again is being hampered by the black, so he's playing it safe.
33.
It's Reardon then, with a start of 33, 34 on the board, and Mountjoy yet to score, but leading by those very important 5 frames. There's a snooker. Proof there of the run of the balls. Sometimes they're with you, and sometimes they're against you. Steadily towards the one at the top, and just clips it. Perfect strength.
One.
There's no stopping this man. The 6 reds sat there very comfortably and nicely spread.
Six.
He's overcut it.
6. Doug Mountjoy.
The red remains over the pocket, but Reardon can't get at it without he puts another ball onto it. And even that doesn't come off for Reardon. A difference of 28 points. Reardon in front in this, the 6th frame.
One.
The little touches that make so much difference. Mountjoy could just get through to that red, and is now in command again.
Eight. Nine.
His stride around the table, full of confidence.
Fifteen. 16.
He's left himself a bit straight on this blue. I think he's summing up the red over the top pocket there, following through on the blue to leave that to be cut in the top pocket.
Twenty-one.
Didn't catch it quite right. And it's 4 points away.
21.
The first mistake that Mountjoy's made this afternoon. Reardon. 11 points the difference now.
One.
Taking away the red on the top cushion before he starts on the last two in the middle of the table. Now, he was obviously very straight on that red. And I think the pink is covering the red nearest the pocket, and of course one red's covering the other. No, he can just about scrape past the pink.
17. Twenty-three. 24.
Well, that means that Mountjoy now requires a snooker.
$30. 32.
Just the 5 colours remain now.
$35.
The current holder then of the Woodpecker Welsh Professional title, retrieving 1 frame here. Mountjoy, having taken the first 5, leads 5 frames to 1.
$44.
The pink,
$50.
and finally the black. A fine performance then by Reardon to clear that last reds in the colours, take that frame at 95 points to 27 and put himself with 1 frame on the scoreboard. Mountjoy now leading 5 frames to 1. But Clive, I look at you, even with that break, it appeared to me that Ray was not playing it with his usual enthusiasm.
Well, he was having to concentrate very, very hard to put that break together. I think this is one of his attributes, that of keeping going when things are not going well for him. He's not had a good run of the balls this afternoon. He doesn't actually like playing afternoon sessions all that much. He always feels that he's much more likely to play his top form in the evening sessions, but he's such an experienced campaigner that he'll just keep going until the match is over.
Ray Reardon to break.
So Reardon breaks off in the 7th frame. A possible 17 frames, of course, in this semi-final of the Welsh Professional Championship.
One.
Good red, but far from ideal position on the black. And the nap of the cloth just bringing the black into the near jaw of the pocket. Played very slowly. The ball will not run absolutely straight. Played down the table. The nap of the cloth will always pull it in. Often a very difficult factor to judge. Possible chance to go into the pack from this black.
Eight.
And it looks from Mountjoy's expression that the balls have not broken perfectly. Perhaps an indication that the run of the balls is changing round slightly.
Eight. Doug Mountjoy.
Of course, it's a truism in this game that the run generally tends to favour the player who is playing better. Those little accidents and near accidents always seem to favour the player who's going particularly well. Mountjoy thinking long and hard about this safety stroke. That's the sort of thing that Reardon will want to make him do to reduce the tempo of the match, which so far, or at any rate up until the last frame, Mountjoy dominated utterly with some brilliant potting and break building.
Now, 4. Ray Reardon.
Well, he wanted to be thin, but not that thin. So he gives 4 points to Reardon. And Reardon again trying to enmesh Mountjoy in the toils of his safety play. Always prepared to work to win matches the hard way is Reardon. Even when he's not going too well, he's very, very difficult to nail. Mountjoy again taking a very long time to study his shot. And again missing the balls altogether.
1. Eight. Nine. Sixteen. Seventeen. Twenty-four. 25. 32.
Signs now that Reardon's starting to get some momentum going. He won't like that though. Cue ball on the side cushion.
Forty-one. 48. 49.
And it seems that Reardon's very bad run of the balls is continuing. Terribly unlucky there to finish obscured by the blue. A couple of inches either way and he'd have been well in business to continue this break.
Ray Reardon.
So 50-point lead for Reardon, but of course still 4 frames behind. And if you're viewing in Mid and North Wales, we understand you're experiencing some interference with your pictures. We're sorry about this, but it's due to factors beyond our control. We're sorry about this and we hope it clears as soon as possible.
59, Doug Mountjoy, 8.
So Reardon again taking the cue ball away to safety. He's in a very strong position in this frame. 51 points in front, and he has the air of a man who doesn't intend to let it slip. Well, again the ball's running unkindly for Reardon. Cue ball coming to rest almost against the red. He can just get through to the black, I think. Ah, that was a bonus.
8. Nine.
That in fact puts him 60 points in front, with only 59 on the table. And he's dropped his chalk.
Never get in the side like that. Twelve. 13. Oh, 13. Ray Reardon. 7. Doug Mountjoy.
Well, an unlucky foul to give away. Shouldn't prove crucial, as Mountjoy still needs snookers. A difference of 57 points. 51 on the table. That should settle it beyond any conceivable doubt.
Six. Seven.
And Reardon, in fact, so far in front that he's ignoring the easy snooker behind the black in favour of attempting the pink. And Reardon therefore continuing his recovery. Lost the first 5 frames of the match, made breaks of 33 and 57 in winning the last. He's always been on top in this one. So this frame will bring him up to 2-5, and if he can win the remaining frame of the afternoon session, he'll only be 2 behind to start the final 9 frames tonight.
20, Ray Reardon.
Mountjoy not conceding, although he's in a hopeless position. Perhaps wants to get in the mood again, pot a few balls. Although in fact he's provided the opportunity for Reardon to conclude the frame.
Three. Seven. 12. 18.
An overwhelming victory in the 7th frame of the match. Reardon pulls back to 2-5, and your impressions of that one, Ted Lowe?
Well, it seems that Ray is regaining a little of his confidence now. He's still not very happy, but he certainly got the major part of the play there, and a useful couple of breaks during that big run. And I think he's very gradually wearing Doug Mountjoy down with his safety tactics.
A vital frame coming up. Last frame before the interval. If Reardon can win it, he'll go into the evening session 2 behind. If he loses it, he'll go in a rather daunting 4 behind. Referee John Smythe just putting the finishing touches, preparing the table for the final frame of the afternoon session. So Doug Mountjoy, for the last time this afternoon, breaks off. Well, he really went for that one, but he's not too happy with how he hit it, but he must be fairly happy with the way it's turned out. I can't see Mountjoy getting much out of that. Not much he can do in the way of a constructive safety stroke.
One.
And although he drops the red nicely into the middle. He's got another difficult shot to follow.
One, Doug Mountjoy.
Looking at these two players now, I'm reminded of their match in the 1978 World Professional Championship. They met in the first round. Mountjoy led by 7 frames to 2, but Reardon gradually overhauled him, beat him 13-9 and went on to win the world title. Chance for Reardon to attack this long red, bringing the cue ball round to safety in case he misses it.
One. Six.
Pretty congested situation round that pack. And Reardon tried to shake the black free from the red, which was almost up against it.
Seven, Ray Reardon.
Mountjoy asking referee John Smythe if he'd be kind enough to remove a speck of dirt or chalk from the cue ball. Occasionally a speck of dirt perhaps falls from the roof onto the table. Mountjoy, of course, trying to get behind the yellow and green with that safety stroke, trying to put his opponent in trouble. Safety strokes, of course, not only a matter of preventing your opponent from scoring, but trying to engineer an opening. That looks like a slightly better one from Reardon. And Mountjoy attempted that. Obviously he thought he could just get through, and having missed it, he'll be glad that the cue ball has come back to a position of safety. The match now being played much more to a tactical pattern of Reardon's liking. The first 5 frames, all potting and break building. Mountjoy in absolutely tremendous form. Breaks of 95 in the first frame, 35 clearance to win the second, 123 in the third, 82 in the fourth. Reardon kept out completely, but now we're seeing a different type of snooker. And it's a measure of the confidence which Mountjoy feels, I think, that after being kept out for quite some time, he's still able to dig in a long pot and get right in close with the black.
Eight.
Well, that's one of the most unfortunate pieces of running he's had this afternoon, leaving the cue ball absolutely smothered up against the black. What he would like to do, I feel sure, is to skim off the edge of the black and get the cue ball behind yellow and green. I don't know whether he can quite do it in that position. Obviously he couldn't, so the cue ball goes as near the baulk cushion as he can get it. Well, that's by no means a disastrous enough for Mountjoy. At least it has the merit of bringing the cue ball back down to the baulk part of the table. If it hadn't gone in the pocket, it would have remained in the top half, possibly leaving a red on. So, the slimmest of leads for Reardon in this last frame of the afternoon session.
One.
Yes, Mountjoy thought for a second, I think, that he'd screwed back just too far, but this red is available.
9. $16. $17.
By no means a prime break building opportunity, this, with 3 reds on the cushion, 3 more in a very tight cluster.
$24. $25.
It'll require cue ball control of a very high order indeed if Mountjoy can manufacture a frame winning break from this position. 4 reds, 3 blacks he's taken so far.
$32.
Well, unlucky twice. He could have got a nice touch on
37.
one of the reds on the cushion or on the cluster. Well, that was extremely difficult.
27. Doug Mountjoy.
And 37 from that position was a good effort. Takes him 36 points in front.
1.
Not split the pack
8.
as he'd hoped. But that was another good red. Reardon fighting fiercely for this frame. He has to win it to limit his interval arrears to 2 frames. If he loses it, he'll start this evening's
16.
session 4 frames behind with 9 to go.
$70. $24. $25.
Just looking to see if the red will go past the blue in the middle pocket. Doesn't look from our camera angle as if it will.
$32.
just looking to see if the yellow will go past the green. So obviously he must be planning on continuing this break. Just squeezed it past. And that should be the key to the frame.
43.
And just the blue to leave Mountjoy needing a snooker.
Ray Reardon.
A splendid 52 break. The frame not quite over yet, as it would have been, of course, had the pink gone down. A difference of 16 with 13 points on the table. So Mountjoy needs one snooker and both the pink and black to win this frame. That's made it harder for him, knocking the black onto the cushion. And Reardon wisely not attempting to pop the pink in case he should run in off, just playing it safe, content to bide his time. Very little chance of Mountjoy getting a snooker with the black where it is. Almost tight on the top cushion. I think at some stage you'll have to try and move it. And Reardon tickling the pink into the jaws of the pocket, trying to make Mountjoy pot it to end the game. He's moved the black, but Reardon, here with a chance to take the pink along the top cushion, will assuredly leave it on the lip of the pocket, even if he misses it. Now Mountjoy, rather than commit suicide, concedes the game. Reardon continues his comeback. Mountjoy leads by 5 frames to 3, and here with his impressions of the afternoon session is Carwyn James.
Well, it's been a captivating afternoon's snooker. A brilliant snooker initially from Doug Mountjoy, who's collected breaks of 95, 123, 82, and winning the first 5 frames. And then, of course, a remarkable comeback by Ray Reardon, who hasn't looked really in form all afternoon, but playing just a little bit better, I thought, at the end.
Well, I think you're absolutely right, Carwyn. He's such a fighter. Even when things aren't going well, he gets his head down, he grafts, he fights. He's extremely difficult to nail. His not so good game is still extremely difficult to beat.
I was interested to hear you say earlier on that Ray is a nocturnal. He plays his best snooker in the evening, eh?
Yes, he started very, very slowly yesterday against Cliff Wilson, and of course today he was up against an opponent who was in much sharper form than Wilson, and he really punished him for it.
Tactically, very interesting that it was in the final stages that the game was slowed down. Initially it was rather quick, and Reardon spent a lot of his time sitting down, whereas Mountjoy was potting so extremely well. Then we had this tactical session at the very end, really.
Well, Reardon likes a slow tempo, whereas Mountjoy is much more at home with a fast tempo. The whole idea of championship snooker is for one player to make the other player play at the speed he wants.
Well, I think, Clive, now we'll look back at a little of the action, and I thought the third was a remarkable frame. Doug Mountjoy with a break of 95 in the first and a narrow victory in the second was already showing brilliant form. As we join play, Reardon is about to break. Your commentator is Clive Everton.
So as Reardon breaks off in the third frame, he has a problem, 2 frames down, as he was yesterday in his semi-final against Cliff Wilson. Not only knocking in the long red, but leaving the cue ball confidently short of the baulk line so that he can pot one of the baulk colours and get back up the table. Needed about another 6 inches run on the cue ball there to get on the back red. So nothing much he can do with the 2 loose reds, so it has to be a safety stroke.
10, Doug Mountjoy.
Reardon observing the golden rule in safety play, get the cue ball as near as possible to the baulk cushion, putting maximum distance between the cue ball and object ball. That's a bonus for Mountjoy. I think we'll see him roll up behind one of the baulk colours now. Could possibly risk the brown in the middle if he's feeling exceptionally confident. Well, I think that's an indication of Doug Mountjoy's mood. To me, he looks a little bit more relaxed in himself today than he did in his semi-final against Terry Griffiths.
6.
He's not had too good a run of results in recent months, and I'm sure victory over the world champion on Sunday has put him in much better fettle. I think he'd prefer a little bit more angle on this red. It looks a bit straight. He has to leave the cue ball more or less where the red is.
22.
Which in turn limits his range of possibilities on the black. That was another good shot. Cue ball was quite near the cushion. He had to strike downwards at the white.
29.
Hit it very cleanly. Just looking at the precise way he wants to open the pack. And that's opened the pack a whole lot more. This is really fluent, confident snooker from Mountjoy. In fact, this is as well as I've seen him play in a match for over a year. He's put in a great deal of practice recently.
60.
Particularly on his own table at home in Ebbw Vale.
61.
No, not quite as played. He's left the cue ball
68.
short. A look at the scoreboard would be a reassuring look from his point of view, because he's 78 points in front. Which means that already Reardon needs several snookers.
74.
And having so narrowly failed to make a century break in the first frame of this match, I wonder whether he's going to do better this time. He's certainly playing well enough to do so.
$82. $83.
Little bit short again.
90.
If he'd have been a little bit further out, he'd have had a simple run through the red to leave the black, but as it is, he's got to screw it in. And he's playing so well that even when he does get out of position, it doesn't seem to make much difference.
$96. $98. $101. $105. $110. $116.
An entirely justified ovation for Mountjoy, a break of 123, a whitewash, and a 3 frames to 0 lead.
Well, for those of you who have just tuned in at home, that was, of course, a recording of the third frame in this afternoon's match between Reardon and Mountjoy in the final of this Woodpecker Welsh Professional Snooker Championship. What a magnificent break that was, Carrion James.
Yes, quite a brilliant break there by Mountjoy, and I was so impressed with his play early on. His tactics today quite different from the game he played against Terry Griffiths on Sunday. I thought on Sunday that he played a more tactically varied game, more defensive, and you know, quite remarkable really that it was so much of a potting game which he insisted upon virtually.
Well, that's quite true, Karen. It was very noticeable in this afternoon's session. If one reverts back to the second semi-final yesterday when Reardon was playing so magnificently against Wilson, this afternoon the whole pattern changed. It was Mountjoy who was literally dancing around the table for the first 4 frames, and Reardon was a dejected man. Even in his stride around the table, it seemed to be casual. Then fortunes changed, and I think Clive Everton was commentating when we almost saw this standing out. I don't know whether you remember, Karen, Mountjoy in fact took a red into a top pocket and just had a nasty little kiss, and from that moment on Reardon seemed to pluck up courage, his confidence seemed to gradually return, and he started playing safety again.
He was out of luck as well as out of form really, wasn't he? Did you believe that you've got to make your own luck in this game?
Well, no, I think most snooker players will appreciate that luck, in fact, goes along with those in form. The balls can be terribly cruel when you're playing badly, and you get all these little touches, which in fact put the whole world against you.
5 frames to 0 down, and I seem to recall Clive Everton saying, well, Reardon is a good fighter and he will come back, and come back he did.
That's true, my word. The game's not over yet.
Well, now then, we can look at some more action, and we go back to the very first frame of the afternoon, and we'll join play with neither player having yet scored. Doug Mountjoy is at the table, and your commentator in this first frame is Ted Lowe.
Reardon started with 19. Mountjoy here replying. A great battle this final should prove to be. Down for another blue. Well, that's 20.
21.
21, says the referee.
Twenty-two.
Sorting out red colour, red colour.
Twenty-seven.
This time the pink. Six reds to go now. And he's disturbed the red from the black.
Forty-two.
Finding it a trifle difficult there to make his bridge.
43.
Left himself the top red of those three.
49. 50.
That's the half century. And still 3 reds to go. A possible 51 points still on the table. Could we possibly expect a 100 break in the first frame of this woodpecker final?
57. 58.
He has the problem of the red on the side cushion.
$65. 66.
Now somehow he has to disturb this last red, or put the cue ball right behind it, leaving it for the top pocket.
$73.
73 and 35 points still to go.
74.
Magnificent break here by Mountjoy. And he's down nicely for the yellow.
81.
Just summing up the position for the cue ball on the green into the center. And
83.
Reardon sits in his chair, unable to do anything about the frame at all.
$86.
And 22 points to go.
$90.
Just two
95.
colors to go. On 3 occasions, he's made 145, never the maximum. But he starts off the Woodpecker final. Oh!
And now we're back at the Ebbw Vale Leisure Centre. The two players are having a break. The evening session will start at 7:30. My apologies for saying that neither player had scored when we joined play there in the first frame of the afternoon. We were, of course, bang in the middle of Doug Mountjoy's superb break of 95. No mistakes from him. Well, what a way to start a championship final, Ted.
Yes, Mountjoy was terribly unlucky, really, not to make a 100 break in the first frame there. I feel that he was concentrating on the black so heavily he forgot to look at the pink, because 999 times out of 1,000 he'd have putted that pink.
Not a case of nerves, was it? Nervous 90s.
No, I don't think the question of nerves came in. It was too early in the game, and he was very confident. He played every ball with confidence, and he proved that as he went through for the next 4 frames anyway, with big breaks all the way through.
Yes, it's worth recapping on the breaks. 95, 32 clearance in the second, 123 break in the third, 82 in the fourth. And then we had a bit more of Reardon. 42 from him, 33 and 57 in the sixth frame, 49 in the seventh, and 52 break in the last frame from Ray Reardon. So that's been the pattern of play this afternoon. Mountjoy with the first 5 frames, Reardon for the last 3.
That's right, Karen. And in fact, we've seen the change of pattern from the putting ability of Mountjoy to the tactical play of Reardon. And as you say, Karen, we start again at 7:30. The scores are 5-3 to Mountjoy, and we will be bringing you highlights on BBC Wales at 11:10 this evening.
is at the microphone.
That is more than a point. Worthington likes.
So Ray Reardon breaks off, needing every one of the last 5 frames for victory. And this is the man in the driving seat, Doug Mountjoy, leading by 8 frames to 4. And if he can get to 9, then he will be Welsh Professional Snooker Champion. Looked a bit ambitious to go for that one, rather than wait for his chance with a safety stroke. The cue ball was tight on the baulk cushion. It's a danger, of course, if you're within sight of victory, to try and press too hard for the winning post.
Six. Seven.
The black comes into play, but the white goes through more than Reardon wanted, leaving him an awkward cut.
Ball team. Touch and ball.
Which means that Reardon must play the cue ball away from the red that the cue ball is touching without moving the red. And he plays straight away from that red. He doesn't have to hit another. If the cue ball is touching another red, he's deemed to have played a fair stroke wherever he hits the cue ball. Well, that's an event to see Reardon miss a shot with the rest. Surely one of the all-time greats with that implement. And perhaps an indication that the strain is beginning to tell.
One. Eight. Nine. 10. 16. 17. 24. 25. 32. 33.
And you can see now why Reardon describes Mountjoy as one of the best in players in the game. When he's in round the pink and black spot, he's absolutely deadly. Just looking to see if there's a red across into the middle pocket. If there isn't, he can drive a red down into the baulk pocket. Helpful touch.
48.
Meant to drift past that red to leave it in the corner pocket. As it happens, he's kissed it full and left it in the middle. He can take the cue ball into the pack off the black, although there may be a red at the back of the pack which will still go. Oh no, he opens them.
$56. 57.
Already 43 in front is Mountjoy. Wow. A useful lead of 43, but he's kicking himself for missing his chance of clinching the game there and then. Mountjoy has had one bit of luck in missing that black, in that it has gone to a safe position on the side cushion, thus making it even more difficult for Reardon to retrieve that 43-point deficit with which he started this break.
Six. 7. 8. 13.
Which brings Reardon to within 23 of his opponent. He has to win this frame and the next 4
27.
if he's to hang on to his Welsh professional title, a title he won in 1977 by beating Mountjoy 12 frames to 8. Slightly too far. He would have preferred to be the bottom side of the blue to give him an easy angle to get on his next ball, the yellow.
$33.
Well, he put that green in off the jaw of the pocket, which is why he hasn't left himself quite the angle he wanted on the brown. What coolness!
42.
Overcut it when he needed only blue and pink to win the frame. So Mountjoy just a single point in front,
57. Ray Reardon, 56.
but 4 frames to the good. This frame and 4 more to play. And his immediate problem, a snooker. Not just a question of escaping, but has he left a free ball?
Foul, 5. Ray Reardon.
If he can't see both sides of that blue,
Free ball.
John Smythe will and has awarded Reardon a free ball, which means that Reardon can nominate pink as an extra blue, which will count 5 points. Well, pressure gets to the best of them. A look at the scoreboard tells Mountjoy that he's 4 points behind. Well, attempted the double and nowhere near it. That really did seem to come off the cushion at an extraordinary angle. So just the blue and pink for Reardon to win this frame and pull one back. A tremendous frame. Reardon wins it to pull back to 5-8, still in the match. And I wonder if now Doug Mountjoy will look back on that failure at the black when he was well in. Mountjoy still has to win only one of the last 4 frames, of course, but each frame that Reardon wins from now will redouble the psychological pressure on Mountjoy. A very interesting stage, Ted.
Yes, it's quite extraordinary, the strength behind this man Reardon. He's still in there with a chance, and always a possibility that he could pull it out of the bag. Favourite, obviously, must be now Doug Mountjoy, who threw it away on a black. Over to you, Clive.
So the 14th frame starts with the break-off shot from Doug Mountjoy. Ray Reardon heaves himself from his seat to address himself to what remains an extremely formidable task. Mountjoy, you may recall, on Sunday eliminated the reigning World Professional Champion Terry Griffiths by 9 frames to 6. He confessed to me after that match that he felt a certain nervousness at clinching it. I wonder whether he's feeling a little bit nervous about clinching this one. As this match builds up to its climax, I recall some of the great matches these players have played in the past. They first met in the final of the 1977 Benson and Hedges, which in fact was Doug Mountjoy's first tournament as a professional, and in a memorable contest he beat Reardon 7-6 on the final pink. Subsequently, Reardon got rather on top of him. I recall a match in the 1978 World Championship when Mountjoy led 7-2 and Reardon got up to beat him 13-9. And of course the last occasion the Welsh Professional Championship was held, Reardon beat Mountjoy on that occasion also. As ever, the opening tactical duel extremely important. Both players jockeying for an opening. A phase of the game, of course, at which Reardon excels. The idea in an exchange like this is to make it as difficult as possible for your opponent to get the cue ball back down to the safety of the baulk area, which is where Mountjoy is playing from. Played that pot in such a way that he only leaves one potable red if he misses it, as he has.
23. Four.
The Reds in a fairly congested situation. Reardon, as ever, planning his sequence of shots very carefully.
Nine.
Well, that's opened the pack a little. He has a red into the middle pocket.
Ten. $16. $17. $23.
Well, the pot was not too difficult.
23. Ray Reardon.
A 23 break to Reardon, and the break ending because Reardon was concentrating very much on the position. The pot was a little straight and attempting to make a little bit
One.
off the side of the pocket to make the angle to get on the black. He ended up missing it. Mountjoy rehearsing where he wants to be. Where he wants to place the cue ball for his next shot.
Seven.
Reardon relaxing, waiting for his next chance. Well, that was an unfortunate kiss. Wanted to bring the cue ball round the table. And at the
15.
black spot being occupied, the black is replaced on the highest available spot, in this case the green. Safety, I think, must be his priority here, and yet it mustn't be the kind of safety shot which will allow Reardon then to put him in trouble. "37 years of age, Doug Mountjoy, a professional since late 1976.
15, Doug Mountjoy.
He's played that pretty well. Just 8 points the lead for Reardon in this frame, but Mountjoy 3 frames ahead and needing only 1 frame to reach the magic target of 9 to give him victory and the Welsh professional title.
Doug Mountjoy, 15, Ray Reardon, 23.
The brown ball there preventing the cue ball finishing on or near the baulk cushion. So a crucial long pot for Mountjoy coming up. Absolutely perfect cueing.
Seven. Eight.
And Mountjoy, after a rather disappointing patch of results in the last few months, has really put the practice in the last month on his table at home here in Ebbw Vale.
Fourteen. $15.
Sorry, John.
20.
Do you want me to do the round or Ted?
$21. $26. $27.
The pink, of course, is straightforward, but it offers no position on the two reds by the pink spot, which is why he's taken the blue and got an unintended kiss on the brown.
32.
There is a consolation prize in the shape of a possible diagonal red across the table into this top pocket. So, a 31 break puts Mountjoy into a 25-point lead. Do you think that's going to be vital, Ted Lowe?
Well, Clive, there's still 3 reds there, a possible 51 points. The reds at the mercy of Reardon here.
1.
Has to concentrate on the pink, for the
7.
black is down on the green spot, away from the last 2 reds.
8.
He appears to be a little too straight on that pink. A lot of side there, bringing that cue ball back up towards this last red. The crucial ball in this frame
14.
for Ray Reardon. Nicely onto the yellow, allowing himself to get down for the green.
21.
4 points behind now.
23.
'He goes 1 point in front.
26.
Great performance by the former world champion on 6 occasions.
35.
The defending Welsh champion, Ray Reardon. Retrieving another frame. Our packed audience here at Ebbw Vale Leisure Centre. They're standing in the aisles tonight for this finale, and Reardon's giving them the pleasure they came for. He's been trailing since the start of this 17-frame final, and is now once again within 2 frames. Mountjoy requires just 1 for victory. Reardon requires the last 3.
I think those last 2 frames must have shaken Mountjoy a bit. He was in the driving seat in both of them. and they've both slipped away. It looked very good for him about 45 minutes ago, when he only needed to win one of the last 5 frames. Now the situation is that he has to win one of the last 3. So Mountjoy examines the position, which has been left by Reardon's break-off shot.
Four. Ray Reardon.
Well, it looked wild, but he played it in such a way as to get the cue ball down to the baulk area. It ended up going in the pocket, but there's still a fair bit of distance between the cue ball and the red which Reardon is attempting in the top pocket.
One. Three. Four. Nine. Ten.
And as Reardon gets in again at the start of this 15th frame, I can't help recalling some of the notable recoveries he's achieved earlier in his career. Five frames behind with 7 to go against Eddie Charlton in the 1975 World Final. He won that. Six frames behind with 9 to go against John Spencer in the 1973 World Semi-Final. He won that. And who is to say that he is not going to win 5 frames in succession to retain his Welsh professional title?
$26.
Well, he couldn't have hit it much harder, and yet
$23.
the pack hasn't opened as he desired. That 33 break by Reardon, taking him 37 points in front. And Mountjoy's cue arm possibly getting a little tight. He was several inches short of the pack there, giving Reardon another 4 points. Well, he can still smile about it. Excellent pot, and just a little bit of luck to keep the cue ball out of the centre pocket.
Six.
Calling for the 3/4 butt, the very longest available. I beg your pardon, it's the span rest, the extended spider. What an awkward shot this is. Well, it looks as if he can get in with the ordinary rest.
Six. Doug Mountjoy.
Well, he never looked happy with that shot. So Reardon still 35 points in front and continuing the recovery, which has given him the last 2 frames. There is a red, of course, invitingly placed over the baulk pocket, but to get at that, it's a fearsome bridge over a ball. I didn't realise, in fact, that he could get through to that red. And in fact, it looked as if he just couldn't. Very fine margins involved. Millimetres. And I wonder now if Mountjoy can summon all his nerve together for the kind of effort which will carry him over the finishing line.
One. Eight.
He can pot the red, but it's a most awkward shot. The spider involved again. Now's the time for a cool head. Not obvious what the correct shot is. So easy to impulsively play the wrong one. But he decides that the spider offers him his best bet. He had to be so sure of getting the red in that he hadn't got much concentration left over for his position. Doesn't look as if he can quite get the pink in the middle. It's very, very close either way. Just get it past the red. Pink spot is occupied, which is why the pink is on the green spot. There's a great chance here. All the remaining reds open. Just struggled the black in off the jaw of the pocket, and exchanges a laugh with one of his many friends in the crowd.
28.
Which brings Mountjoy level.
36. 41. 42. 49. 50.
This looks very much like the winning break, doesn't it, Ted?
Yes, Clive, he's now 15 points in front and the last red on the table. A truly great final.
55.
The 17-frame final between Reardon and Mountjoy. And no one can say that the defending champion hasn't put up a terrific battle.
56.
Down for the yellow. Mountjoy, who resides here in Ebbw Vale, started off this final
65.
in terrific form with a clearance of some 95, just missing the pink for 100.
68.
And here in the 15th frame, he's cleaning up.
72.
Ray Reardon now realizes that the Welsh title drifts away from him.
77.
Any moment now, you will hear the mad applause.
Thunderous applause. Doug Mountjoy congratulated first by Ray Reardon, then by the other two competitors, Terry Griffiths and Cliff Wilson. A marvellous match. A terrific start by Mountjoy this afternoon. He led 5-0, breaks of 95, 123. A great comeback by Reardon. He won the next 3 frames, 5-3. A tremendous evening session also. Mountjoy made it 6-3. Reardon pulled one back. Then Mountjoy went on ahead. 2 frames that possibly he could have lost. He won them both to lead 8-4. Reardon, not done yet, won the next 2, well in the game in the last frame, but couldn't quite do it. He conceded the fatal opening. Then came Mountjoy's concluding break. Beautifully composed and controlled, 60-odd, and this is why Doug Mountjoy stands ready to receive the trophy for the Woodpecker Welsh Professional Snooker Championship. So, a wonderful win for Doug Mountjoy, and from Ebbw Vale Leisure Centre, it's good night.